Okay, hey everybody. Thanks for hopping on our monthly team call for tonight for April. We are going to kind of revisit some things tonight that I think are going to be really good reminders for myself and just everybody on the team. Some best practices, things to remember, some mindset when working with our customers, and some sort of basic ideas on how to be successful in network marketing, right? As we have noticed, this is a season of sprinting, right? But I think sometimes you don't realize that everybody has an opportunity to pick their path, right? And so we've heard like the run, walk, sprint stuff before, but if our businesses aren't growing and we want them to, right? Or they're not growing as fast as we want them to, there is probably some type of lid that we're pushing up against, right? There's something that we are either not doing in the best way or not doing at all. Or there's a way that we're going about something or thinking about something that's not quite working out in a way that is proving to be successful for us, right? And we're all going to come up upon these things that need to be pushed past at some point in our business, and we're going to hit many of these lids over and over again. Sometimes there's a different kind of lid every single month, right? And as we grow as leaders, we're going to progress and learn, and sometimes take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, right? And then we kind of push forward and learn something new, and then we have the highs and lows and ups and downs and peaks and valleys, right? But in this season of momentum in our business as a health and wellness company, as we are in the middle of springtime or heading into spring, we're in the middle of the first half of the year, we're heading towards summer, people are thinking about getting back on track with their health goals and their weight loss goals, and they're really looking forward to maybe getting rid of allergies, going into this next season, and making sure their family stays healthy for all their summer vacations. There's lots of things related to health and wellness that people are thinking about right now. Maybe it even has to do with like the way their skin looks in less clothing, right? Maybe it's like skin issues or, sensitivities or things like that. And so we are in an industry with products that are very pertinent right now, very much a hot topic right now in this season. And so we need to decide that in this season of momentum and sprinting, what pace we want to work through that, right? Do we want to commit to doing hard things and fail forward and roll up our sleeves and take in some trainings and try some new stuff and focus on leader development and rank advancement? Or are we in a space that we need to like keep things slow for a second and work through some other stuff while we remain consistent and still part of the Plexus and team community, right? And both of those are totally fine. But to recognize that this is a season of momentum in our industry and in our company and on our team right now. And to recognize that, because that is the truth and it happens every single year. So this season of momentum comes back around every single time. And so the higher and harder and farther that you can push in this season, the less the kind of fallback is on the back end of the year, if that makes sense. So, we always want to at least stay consistent with, the basic activities and stay plugged in and keep the doors of our business open by showing up on social media and staying in contact with our existing customers, right? But sometimes we just need like some love and motivation and community, and that's okay. If that's like a season that you're in and you're like, you know what, that's what I need right now is like support and I need to get back on track. That's totally fine. But if you're in the season of sprinting and pushing and trying things out and being okay if something doesn't work out, or if you kind of mess up your words, or you say the wrong thing, or you do a live and it totally flops, or whatever, right? If you're kind of in a season of trying stuff out and really going for it, now's the time to really get committed to that path. And in any path, we need accountability, right? And that's what we're here for. We need to be checked in on, we need to be held accountable for what we say we're going to do, the goals we're working toward. And as leaders, this is what we can offer our teams, right? With regular communication. And sometimes that means having tough conversations too. Like if someone says they're going to show up for something like a team call or a power half hour, or they want to enroll one before the end of the week, having a conversation with them saying, hey, are you on track for that? Or you mentioned you were going to be on the call tonight and I didn't see you there. Is everything okay? Or do you want to talk about that? Or how are you feeling about things, right? And having those conversations with people and saying, we thought we were going to show up in this way and that didn't end up happening. So let's kind of bring that together and see what's going on there, right? because we need to decide what paths we are going to be on. And we also, as leaders, need to understand that people on our teams, every single one of us here has someone sharing on our team. And so we need to understand what paths our people are on and love them in that space also. But what I think, and I'm lumping myself into this bucket also, is that too many of us waver on almost a day-to-day basis, maybe more like week to week, but kind of on a day-to-day basis between sprinting and doing the bare minimum. And we flop back and forth, which in theory is fine, right? That's the nature of this business, it's the freedom of this business, that some days are busier than others. Some days we're like totally going for our goals, and other days we're kind of taking a step back because we have other things to do, right? Other things that are taking our, time and mental and emotional and, physical energy, right? But it's that start, stop that really never gives our hard work enough consistency to actually hit that tipping point to where it starts to pay off. If we're constantly just revving and never actually going anywhere, it's going to be really hard for our businesses to really take off and take advantage of that huge momentum, right? So I was thinking about my own business activities with like March versus April, and how my habits were kind of different at the beginning of March than I think they have been in the first week of April. And I don't know if that's true for you, but I think that there are some things that I was doing. I was sending out more messages. I was asking more people about the business. I was presenting earning opportunities to maybe more people. I was, a little more bold in different things. And I'm like, what was different? Was it that the excitement felt new to me? In March, was it like new momentum? I'm not quite sure. I'm trying to like hone it in mentally wise, but I think that as a team, I wanted us all to sort of think about how have our habits changed a little bit, and where can we focus to keep the momentum that's not going to maybe add more to our plate. It's just shifting attention to a different area. Right? That maybe we don't need to be working so hard over here, and there's some things that we could be doing, some best practices that can be moving our businesses forward and really moving the needle and harnessing that momentum without adding more things. It's just doing different things, right? And so in this season, we really want to hammer out the fundamentals of network marketing and building a team of leaders. And of course, customer care is absolutely important and a part of that. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit tonight, but I myself need to revisit each aspect of what we do sometimes and how we do it and why we do it, instead of just going through the motions and filling my day with work, right? Of course we have to show up on team pages, right? We have to do shout out graphics. We have to do, but like how much time are we spending on those things? And are we overthinking social media posts? And are we spending 10 minutes scrolling and like writing congratulations and happy birthday to everybody? And like, is that really an IPA? No, like that's great to do like at night before bed, to like scroll through and like tell everybody good job, right? Like definitely do that. But if that's like the first thing you sit down to do at your computer, maybe think about how you could be better using that time, right? We do have an upcoming training group next month that I'm very excited about, and we'll be announcing tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That's going to help us all learn to raise up new leaders in a super simple way. And it's really piggybacking on what corporate's doing right now with the Silver and Six, and just boiling it down uber simple. And we're kind of coming out with like phase 2 of that as our own team next month. So be excited to hear about that next month. But I really believe that like a lot of us, and myself included, are like almost working harder than we need to in maybe some of the wrong areas, and spinning our wheels in one area, when really if we were doing that somewhere else, we would be seeing a lot more traction, and we could truly like simplify what we're doing. I think we're on the right track. Like I think this past month and the momentum that we saw over March has kind of shown us the direction that we need to be taking. And now my hope is that we see all the work that we did last month and we keep doing those things, and we don't stop doing those things. And we look back and say, what was working really well? What messages was I sending? What questions was I asking? What did my follow-up look like? What did my work structure look like? What did my posts look like? What did my belief look like? What did my energy level look like? We had huge momentum last month, and let's not let that just fall by the wayside, right? And think about network marketing, honestly, being all about leveraging networks, right? Network marketing is all about leveraging yours and other people's networks. And we've gotten really good at leveraging our own networks, right? And we're all enrollers here. But I think that we don't realize the capacity we have to go out and leverage everybody else's networks, because we just brought in over 50 new VIPs to our team last month, right? And they all have individual networks of their own, right? So we need to think about what we are doing to get into those networks so that we aren't scrambling for a bunch of our own level 1 VIPs this month to try and keep our numbers really high, right? Because not every single month is going to be a high enrollment month for each of us personally. It just isn't going to work that way. I mean, unless you're like on a massive scale, spending a lot of time creating new connections and sending a lot of reach out messages, which you absolutely can do, but that adds more to your plate, right? The key is to yourself have a high enrollment month. And then when you have a lower enrollment month, you're turning around helping all of those people enroll and refer, so that it keeps kind of a consistent basis of you're enrolling, then your team is enrolling, and then you're enrolling, and then your team's enrolling, right? So it's kind of an up and down to keep those stable numbers. But we need to bring these new people in and then get in their networks, right? And I mean, and once we get in their networks, right, and they bring new people in, what should we be doing? Getting in their networks, right? So like, that's the whole nature of taprooting. And so we've got to get into the rhythm of getting into our customers' networks who maybe even aren't necessarily interested in the business opportunity yet, right? Because leveraging our networks and the networks of people we know and the networks of people they know is the key to success in network marketing, right? We've all seen that like huge sunburst graphic, and like that's the whole point, right? We only need personally a handful of leaders who are sharing with a business mindset to get to the top of this company. You really only need like a handful of level 1s who are doing the same thing as you're doing, right? And so we don't need to be on this like level 1 sponsoring spree and everybody's enrolling 10 people. That is like a fast way to run yourself ragged, and then you're going to be stuck doing customer care and you can't do leadership development, all the other things, right? So lately we've put a big focus on leading with the business, which I love that. Seeking new business builders from the get-go. This is great. Keep doing that. Don't stop doing that. It's the way to go. Always seeking new leaders. In our last team call, we talked all about getting someone to gold and having that be like the first threshold that we are looking toward, and almost looking past silver and senior silver. Like if someone's interested in the business, like that is what I'm pitching first. Like this is where we're going, and that is where I'm going to guide them, right? And we talked about the 4x4. If they have 4 level 1s who each have 4 level 1s, then they are a gold ambassador. And so if someone is business minded, that's what I'm going to start going toward. And I think we set a fast start gold will earn $1,300 if they go fast start gold. So that is a very easy, clean cut, clear path to with a defined number, amount of earning, right? So we're going to keep seeking those people, but we know that most people do not start from a business perspective right away, right? They want to build trust in us. They want to build trust in Plexus first, and that is totally fine. So let's talk about how we can get to the point of leveraging the networks of our customers that aren't quite interested in the actual business just yet. Because I am guilty of this too. I asked someone like if they want to earn $300 and go fast start silver, and they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll ask again later. Right. And I just kind of like let it be. And so this is a reminder for me, just as it might be for anybody else. But it all starts with the customer experience, right? Because if someone's coming in, say like, for example, if you went to a car dealership and you bought like a new, like I have a Tahoe. I went to a Chevy dealership and I bought a Chevy Tahoe. Can you imagine if I like went home with my Chevy Tahoe and I'm loving my Chevy Tahoe, and the Chevy guy calls me up and is like, hey, if you find 7 people to buy a Chevy Tahoe, you'll earn $2,000. I'd be like, what? I just like wanted a car for my family. Like, no thanks, And so that feels weird and that's where like the grossness of the selling and the pushiness comes from, right? And so we need to be careful to not have the bait and switch situation. And we need to be careful not to push people toward an area that they didn't arrive for, right? They weren't coming for that. So we have to welcome them and get them plugged in and care for them and make sure that they feel supported and, you know, call them on the phone, see them face to face, hop on a Zoom call, send a voice message, at least, like bare minimum, let them hear you as a person, right? And let them feel like they're a part of the community and you're here for their transformation in their wellness, and making sure that they understand that it's, you know, this long-term commitment in their wellness. And a goal I heard recently was, which is an interesting mindset, is to have our customers repurchase, like a minimum goal is to repurchase once in the next 90 days. And I thought, that's a good way to like think about it. Like, because some people have a weird slow start and sometimes we can get really down on ourselves. Like, oh, she's waiting 2 weeks to start her products, or like she went camping and forgot all of them. And then we kind of like get in this spiral, right? But if we can think of like, okay, in their first 90 days, if I can get them to like purchase again, odds are high that they feel good about like being on the product and even starting over if they need to, or refocusing or whatever. Like that's a really good sign retention wise to have them have a repurchasing order in their first 90 days. But knowing that the beginning and their entrance into Plexus is all about good customer care. It starts the second someone signs up. We want them to feel good about the process, because if they don't feel like the process was easy or comfortable or supportive, they're not going to want to welcome others into the process either, right? We want them to feel like the relationship with us is really strong, right? And they enjoy being a part of Plexus and they're not overwhelmed with pages and chats and information and emails and videos and graphics and, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff is sort of a slow drip when we welcome new people. And we've got customer care guides. I mean, I have one that's just like a slow, like the messages I actually send on like day 1 and day 3 and day 5. Like I have that pinned at the top of the Elite page. It's been up there for years and I still use that. There's also like a 90-day customer care guide that's been shared that you can use that too. They're all sort of a similar thing. It's a slow drip of information. And so it's not everything all at once. And I know we get really excited that we want to tell everybody everything all at one time about their subscription and perks and Pivotal and referrals, and here's the team page, and here's the chat, and here's the right? And like, here's your lean recipes, and here's how you take your products and drink your water, and like all this stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff that we're excited about and we know we want to pass on. But we need to be careful not to throw too much on people all at one time. Because if it feels like a lot of information, they won't even process it. They like will totally shut down, right? I mean, I know like Erica, one time I sent her like the world's longest email, and that was like ridiculous. I can't even believe she's like a business builder now. Like, I don't know what I was doing, but I thought it was a good idea at the time. But anyway, so they do make it through sometimes. They stick with you when they're your best friends. But like, I've done that before. I sent people like, here's a video about every one of your products, and here's all the nutrition information, and here's how you take it, and it's like, let's not start with overwhelm. Like, let's avoid the overwhelm from the get-go, because I don't think we realize that if they instantly feel like they're bombarded with information, that is actually a hindrance to them wanting to share. Because they feel like they need to pass along all this information, and it's like a lot of responsibility, and there's so much to know, and they don't know all of that. How could they share that, right? Like, I don't think we realize that that can actually be a setback when it comes to sharing. So remembering that like the day 1 sign up process and that slow drip of information setting someone up for success is part of customer care and is actually part of encouragement to ease into the sharing process, right? And so once they're in and we provided that, you know, customer care and all of that, like getting started with, you know, successfully, and, you know, plugged them into the Welcome to Plexus call, you know, after their first week or something, then that providing of ongoing support we're all familiar with, and we have the guides and everything. But another piece of that is incentivizing them to engage in their wellness journey. So that might look like even just a congratulations, or plugging them into an actual group or an actual giveaway, or maybe it's the community that feels like a lot of value to them. Like an incentive can be anything that feels valuable, right? It could be accountability, it could be adding them to a group, it could be recognition that they've been consistent for their first week, like shout them out for keep sticking to their products for their first 2 weeks or whatever. So offering an incentivized experience, an added value experience for them to really be engaged in their wellness journey with Plexus. And maybe this looks like, you know, you two or you in your upline, you know, you three getting together and being like, okay, this week we're going to try to get 10,000 steps a day. Are you in? Like, do this with me, right? And making like little mini challenges that you don't need prizes and stuff. It's like just doing something together that you can be on track together, keeping them accountable, allowing them to feel a part of something. And all along the way, recognizing them for making progress, shouting out any milestones that they might be experiencing. And I think that, I mean, I can do so much better at this, and I think we all could, like, get on the Be Healthy Be Plexus page and be like, Sarah mentioned today that her sleep has improved so much since starting Plexus last month. Congrats, Sarah. Loved hearing that, or whatever. You know what I mean? And like, how great would that feel to not only allow your customer to feel like such a positive emotion, but see that like that's a big deal. Like it's a big deal to have these health wins, and also to share and shout them out in front of a supportive group of people that can be happy for them also. So all of these things, allowing them to feel plugged in, supported, feeling positively about their experience so far, and incentivized to like engage in the experience. That is going to help build trust in Plexus. That's going to help build trust in us, in our team, and it's going to help them feel confident in doing business with you and also referring people to you or referring people to Plexus, right? Because they feel really good about the whole experience. And so when we first build trust and this positive emotional rapport with people, they're so much more likely to share. So that all starts with customer care. So if our customer care is like down the drain, then we're probably gonna have a hard time like getting people to share and referring and all that. So the second part of that is asking early and often for them to invite their friends to explore Plexus, right? And again, these are like customers, people who aren't like business builder minded folks, okay? If we haven't done that for all of our March new VIPs yet, it needs to happen ASAP. Like the first week of every single month should be pivoting and asking every single person that you enrolled last month, who they know who might want to explore Plexus, presenting that month's incentives to them, plugging them into whatever calls are happening. You know, do you know anyone that this story would resonate with? That kind of thing needs to happen like right now. And you know, the sponsors of each new VIP on our teams can connect with their people, but if that needs to happen in a three-way chat with you and your level 1 and their level 1, right, and your level 2, if that needs to happen like that for better support, then absolutely do that, because we want that team member, whoever they are, customer, to receive the best support, right? But continuously asking who they know who might be interested in hearing this testimony or exploring Plexus or listening to this call. That is going to be key, because asking just one time if they're interested in like earning $300 might not really resonate with them. But if we have a testimony that's going to be shared on a call that you're going to get the recording of someone who has, you know, they're dealing with anxiety and depression or addiction or whatever, right? You can use some keywords. Do you know anyone who struggles with these things who might want to hear this story? Does anyone come to mind when you read about menopause or IBS or thyroid issues? Do you know anyone who struggles with those things? Because I'd love to be able to pass this on to them, right? So using the resources that we have, the calls that we have, the recordings that we have, to consistently ask them who they know. That's another way to kind of get them to be constantly thinking about their network, right? And the Tuesday night calls that we have are different every single week. So you could say, okay, tonight's, you know, call was XYZ, right? Here's some of the things that they talked about tonight. Does this resonate with anybody that you know? Can I help you pass this along? And so, Becca, I'm so glad you just commented about shout out posts. That's exactly what I'm going to go into next, because I'll talk about one other thing and I'll circle back to shout out posts, because I think that that's something we're missing in our actual systems, right? But the continuous of asking who they know. Who do you know who might want to hear this? You know, beyond the dollar amount, right? And the dollars are great. Every single month, I'm all about like enroll 6 and you're gonna get an Apple Watch, enroll 6 and you're gonna get a walking pad and $400. Would you like me to help you earn that? All about it, right? Do that till the cows come home. I'm all for that, but in the in-between moments, you know, speaking to the health piece and allowing them to think of who they might know on an ongoing basis is going to be super important, or just asking them if they're interested in like only referring a couple friends to help them cover the cost of their next order, right? And allowing them to be a VIP customer, getting product credit. So even that conversation can be important, you know? But one thing we need to do is help our level ones understand the commitment they might be making by referring people. I think this is kind of where I want to talk about referrals coming from like shout out posts or even three-way chats, or them, you know, looping somebody in a text message group that they sent a recording to or a testimony to, right? It's okay if they want to stay as a VIP customer and you take the referral, which is exactly what happened with Becca, right? She had someone refer, and it's just fine for your VIP to stay at VIP, right? And you can prep them if they're interested in the business. You can teach them business building practices. You can prep them that this is something that you want to help them do in an ongoing basis, and you're going to teach them the basics of running a successful business. If they're not interested in that, if they're not interested in caring for a new customer in Plexus, get them referral product credits all day long, right? And you take that level one and work with them directly. I think we need to stop creating middlemen in our business, trying to like push people into going silver, right? Because they could refer, and then you could be like, hey, one more referral and you can upgrade to brand ambassador and get like $100 bonus, or $200, I guess, if it was fast start, right? Like they can still do that, and those customers will go to them if they upgrade. Those people that they referred, their customers will go back to them. So I think sometimes we're a little bit quick to like jump the gun on the first referral if they're like not into it. If they are into it, awesome, like run with it, you know, have that conversation with them and ask them if it's something they want to learn how to do on an ongoing basis. But we need to understand that it's okay to get referrals out of people and not just business builders all the time. And it's okay if they're just sending you people and remaining a customer, right? Because I think we'll build more trust with them if we allow them to feel okay in the space that they are comfortable in. I think very early on in my business too, I was so hopeful for everybody. Like I wanted them to be a business builder, a runner. I wanted them to do all the things in this business. So the second they referred their first person, I'm like, now this is how you care for them for the next 90 days. And I'm going to add you to this page. And we're doing this IPA challenge next week. And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like all I did was like post one time. Like it's my mom and my sister and my babysitter. Like I'm not really like running a business, you know? And I was like, okay, my bad. Like I would like threw them into like IPAs and stuff without really having an honest conversation with them. Like, is this what you want? Right? And so I would love for us to really keep people in the right buckets, because somebody they refer could be your next business builder, right? And so if we omit that middleman, like that's so much better for your business. You know what I mean? If that person is your level one. So we need to just sort of remember that. But I'd love to see us lean more into shout out posts that Becca's talking about. I do not do this well enough. Becca's gotten back to them and I love it. And I also saw Marisa is doing one on her team. There was a giveaway in the customer chat about shouting out recently, shout out posts. But I'd love to make shout out posts a regular part of our customer care, actually without like a giveaway portion, like sans giveaway, just for that to be kind of our next line item in the system of asking customers to share. I think that they can be done very successfully and very easy and simply, and we've got scripts and things that I can share later, but remembering that if we like are asking someone to go for a huge incentive or go for a fast start silver or earn X number of hundreds of dollars, remembering the shout out post option and keeping that as a next go-to task, I think would be really, really great to see team-wide. I'm going to start doing it more often. I do it randomly when I remember, but I need to do it like all of the time. And honestly, for longtime customers who love their products, like once a quarter, ask them like, hey, what do you think about, you know, shouting me out? Da, da, da. You have the script for it, you know, like, what do you think about, you know, posting about Plexus? I would give you this kickback as a referral if you want to like show them, you know, something, but they're going to get product credit if they refer anybody too. So that's really cool. So anyway, either way, whether it ends up as a referral to you or your level one gets the product credit or they decided that they want to go for it and upgrade to a brand ambassador, either way, we know that they'll be more successful long-term in Plexus when they have someone to do this with and they earn some money, right? Like those two things are huge when it comes to consistency over time and longevity with their Plexus experience, right? You know, and then we can ask them, is this a good time for you to learn how to do this on an ongoing basis? Because I can help you make this a really lucrative income option for your family. Oh, Becca, thank you. So she's got her script for asking for a shout out post. That's awesome. And thank you for sharing that. And so, you know, then you want to have that conversation. If they're there for that, go into the business. If they just want product credits and they don't want a deal, then that's okay too. But it's important that this process of like loving on them and welcoming them as a customer and building trust and asking to share isn't like all in one conversation, I think is the point, right? Like we want to make sure that we have built that relationship over time and connected with them and not just hurried to get them to do something, right? So remembering that like connection is the key. Like we're looking to help them and really bless them, right? Whether it's blessing them with the products and or blessing them with a new business opportunity, or it's like just 20 bucks off their next order, which kind of takes some of the stress off, right? And whatever that looks like, big or small, that's the point, is to really help them. It's not trying to get them to do things that we want them to do, right? And it acknowledges the fact that they are a product customer first. The individuals who have demonstrated that they are interested in being a customer of Plexus, experiencing the products first, we need to honor that and love them in that space and not make them feel like they're letting us down by like not doing what we want them to do, right? And at the moment that they feel comfortable referring or they watch some conversations, we can absolutely ask them about it. But not everybody is a business builder, right? And we need to make sure that we're always adding value to them in every single space that they're in and treating customers like customers who are making it clear that they are customers and not business builders and being okay with people being in that bucket. So I want us to like get real serious about shout out posts and remember that it's okay if you just have referrals and people just remain as VIP customers and you can have them as a level one, right? A level one customer. And remember that these referrals could be your next business builder. And so to treat them as you would any of your level ones, give them outstanding customer care, ask them who they know who might want to experience this as well, right? And expose them to the sharing opportunity over time when you've built that trust, right? So, you know, for the rest of the week, let's think about that, right? Who do we still need to ask about sharing in some capacity, whatever that looks like, whatever stage you're at with them. There's going to be the weekly silver and sixes, by the way. So if you have someone who's kind of dabbling in the business or you think might be open to it, and maybe has referred somebody, maybe has posted before, you could say, hey, corporate is running like a 6-day crash course in starting a Plexus business or earning your first few $100s with Plexus. Would you like to plug into that next week? Right? Like who can we ask that? Because you have no idea who your next business builder is going to be, right? So, oh, and another thing, one last thing. If you guys saw the $25 convention ticket sale for VIP customers. So these are people who are not brand ambassadors. They have not upgraded their account status. Somebody who is currently a VIP customer who has joined since September 1st can get a convention ticket for 25 bucks. So if you have someone who's like thinking about the business, hasn't upgraded yet, maybe hasn't referred anybody yet, but you're like, hey, convention's in Vegas. We have a big group going. It's going to be a total blast and tickets are only 25 bucks. What do you think? Do you think you'd want to come with me? I think you'd love it and it'd be a great peek into, you know, Plexus. And so, and by the way, if they upgrade later, that's fine. If they're currently a VIP customer, they get a $25 ticket. So, get on that too. I was kind of forgetting about that. So anyway, that's what I want us to think about for tonight are all the ways that we can love on our customers where they're at, but think about how can I tap into their network, even if they are not someone who has expressed interest in the business. And shout out posts are a great way to do that. or dripping testimonies and video recordings on them slowly. Like, who do you know that might want to listen to this? Kind of on an ongoing basis with all our calls. That's something I really want us to think about as we are continuing to lead with the business, right? And continuing to seek our next gold ambassador so that we can all go to Gold Retreat in Dallas in October. So let's think about that as we go through the rest of the week. And I am